Today, we'll not only discuss why choosing the right names is an important aspect of good storytelling and world building, we'll also look into common practices of how to craft good names. And on top of that, I will share a unique method of mine called essence naming that I'm sure you haven't heard about before. Hi everyone, my name is Sasha, and this video is part of my ongoing deep dive into the realms of world building, storytelling, and fantasy writing. Crafting names that resonate and captivate can be a real challenge. It's not just about stringing together exotic syllables. The real trick lies in creating names that feel authentic, adapt to your world, and stick in the minds of your readers or audience. Let's start at the beginning. Why do names even matter so much in our stories and worlds? You see, names are more than just labels or tags. They are the essence of identity. They can instantly evoke feelings, convey histories, and create connections with your audience. A well-chosen name can immerse readers into your world, making places and characters feel real and relatable. But here's where it gets tricky. The world of fiction is littered with generic, uninspired names that fail to make an impression. We've all come across characters with names that feel flat, or worse, like carbon copies of their more famous counterparts. This not only hampers the reader's ability to connect with your world, but it can also undermine the uniqueness of your story. Done right, a name can reflect a character's heritage, hint at their destiny, or even reveal key aspects of their personality. Think about how names like Darth Vader or Katniss Everdeen have become iconic. They resonate because they are unique, memorable, and deeply tied to the character's story and identity. The name Darth Vader is part of the Sith tradition to choose a new name upon embracing the dark side of the Force. Darth is a title signifying a Sith Lord, while Vader is reminiscent of invader or the Dutch word for father, foreshadowing his relationship with Luke Skywalker. Katniss, on the other hand, is named after a plant, also known as Arrowhead or Sagittaria. This plant is a survival tool, much like Katniss herself, who uses her hunting and survival skills to protect her family, and later, herself and others in the Hunger Games. Her last name Everdeen has a melodical and somewhat lyrical quality to it. This contrasts with the harsh realities of Katniss's life in the dystopian world of Panem, and could be interpreted as symbolizing a glimmer of hope or beauty amidst darkness and oppression. Having said that, it is important to remember that while some names carry deep symbolic meaning, not every name in your world needs to be laden with hidden meanings. Sometimes the power of a name lies in its simplicity and how naturally it fits into the context of your world. Firstly, let's talk about drawing inspiration from history and mythology. Our own world is rich with cultural histories and mythological tales that are treasure troves for names. Think of how J.R.R. Tolkien used Norse mythology to inspire his names in The Lord of the Rings. You can look into various cultures and mythologies to find names that resonate with the themes of your world. But remember, it's not about copying, it's about being inspired and then adding your own twist to make them fit into your unique world. Next, consider the adaptation of existing names. This is a fun and creative way to take names that already exist and twist them into something new. For instance, you could start with a common name like Jonathan and transform it into Jonthana, which adds an exotic flair, making it appropriate for a character of significant stature or mystery. Another example would be to transform Sophia into Sophiara, giving it an ethereal quality, perfect for a character with a mystical or otherworldly presence. The benefit of this technique is that it maintains a sense of familiarity while giving the name a unique and fresh feel. A different way to approach name crafting is the technique of combining words and concepts. For example, if you're naming a city known for its beautiful gardens and scholarly institutions, you might combine flora, which is flower in Latin, and academia to create Florademia. This technique not only produces unique names, but also adds a layer of meaning and context to them. Lastly, there's of course always the option to use AI and name generators found online. These modern tools can be a great starting point, especially when you're feeling stuck. They can spark ideas or even provide a base name that you can then modify and adapt. However, it's important to use these tools as aids, not as crutches. The goal should be to infuse your creativity and the essence of your world into the names you choose. If you found anything useful in the video so far, please consider giving it a like to help me grow this channel. Thank you. Alright, let's talk about my own method for naming characters and places. We'll tackle the theory first and then get into 3 detailed examples right after. First up, we start with what I call essence extraction. Pick a concept or emotion that embodies the character or place you're naming. It could be bravery for a warrior, tranquility for a mystical forest, or chaos for a storm-ridden sea. In step 2, we engage in something that I'm sure to butcher when it comes to its pronunciation, and that is synesthesia. Synesthesia is a phenomena where one sense involuntarily triggers another. In our case, we're now going to transform the concepts or emotions that we've defined in step 1 into sounds. Ask yourself, what sounds feel brave? Sharp consonants like k and t, perhaps? What about tranquility? Maybe softer flowing sounds like l and s. This step is all about feeling the sounds that embody your defined essence. Step 3 then is about intertwining these sounds with a dash of cultural influence. Think about the broader culture of your world or the specific region that you're focusing on. Is it inspired by medieval Europe, ancient Asia, or something entirely alien? Pick one or more linguistic elements from these cultures, like the use of suffixes or prefixes, and blend them with your synesthetic sounds. This grounds your names in a cultural context, making them more authentic. Finally, in step 4, pass your creations through what I call the intuitive filter. This is where you trust your gut. Say the names out loud. Do they feel right? Do they invoke the essence that you started with? This step is crucial because if a name doesn't resonate with you, it likely won't resonate with your readers or audience either. Now, with all this theory in mind, let's put this method into practice with 3 different examples. Imagine we're naming a fierce warrior from a culture similar to the Norse mythology. In step 1, our essence might be fearless. Following that, for our synesthetic sounds, in step 2, we choose strong, impactful consonants like b and r. Next up is step 3. From Norse linguistics, we borrow the suffix son, which means son of. Mixing these together, we might come up with Briason, a name that sounds robust and deeply rooted in its cultural context, passing the intuitive filter in step 4 as well. For our second example, let's name a serene healer. We start by extracting the essence of peace and healing. Perhaps a word like harmony encapsulates the essence of our character. In step 2, when translating harmony into sounds, we might think of soft, flowing consonants and vowels such as m, y, or l. These sounds have a calming, soothing quality. In step 3, drawing from East Asian cultures, we consider incorporating distinctive elements like the syllable li. In many cases, li symbolizes beauty or grace. Such an element can add a touch of elegance and cultural depth to your names. Combining these elements, we could come up with Liyama. When we say it out loud, it has a melodious, peaceful ring to it, reflecting the essence of our healer. Lastly, let's find a name for an ancient, majestic city. Imagine a city that has stood the test of time, surviving wars, natural disasters, and centuries of history. The essence we're focusing on is endurance. For endurance in step 2, robust and resonant sounds might be appropriate. Sounds like g, d, and hard c can evoke strength and stability, while vowels like o and u give a sense of solidity and resilience. In step 3, we use compound words as our linguistic element. Compound words are formed by combining 2 or more words to create a new one with a distinct meaning. In many cultures, compound words are common in place names, reflecting key characteristics or histories of those places. For our city, we could combine elements that signify strength, history, and importance. Let's take aurea from aureus, meaning golden, and dur from the Latin word duros, meaning hard or strong. Combining these elements in step 4, we can form a name like Aureadur, encapsulating the essence of enduring beauty and majesty like a timeless golden city. The beauty of essence naming is a combination of emotional resonance with linguistic elements, creating names that are not just unique but meaningful. It's a dance between creativity and structure, ensuring that your names are not just fanciful, but deeply connected to your world's essence. If you like this type of content, then you might want to check out the video at the top as well, sharing my insights into the art of using subtext in your writing. In this last section, we delve into some of the nuances of naming things to ensure that your names are not just creative, but also appropriate and effective for your world. First, let's talk about distinctiveness and diversity in names. The key here is to avoid names that sound too familiar or generic. For instance, having characters named An, and Annie in the same story can cause confusion. Strive for variety, but also ensure that the names fit the geographical and cultural settings in your world. Now, consistency is vital as well when it comes to naming within your world. Names should be a reflection of the world's cultures, histories, and geographies. For example, a desert-dwelling tribe might have names that sound harsh and guttural, reflecting the harshness of their environment, while a mountainous region's inhabitants might have names that are melodic, echoing the rolling hills and valleys of their homeland. There are a few common pitfalls in naming too that you should be aware of. One is the overuse of apostrophes or overly complex spellings, which can make names hard to pronounce or remember. Another pitfall is to use names that carry unintended connotations or meaning in different languages, which can distract or even offend readers. In addition to these guidelines, it's crucial to approach naming with cultural sensitivity. When drawing from real-world cultures or languages for inspiration, ensure that you've done so respectfully and knowledgeably. Avoid cultural appropriation or using names that could be considered offensive or stereotypical. It's about honoring the richness of different cultures, not exploiting them for exotic flair. This conscious approach not only adds depth to your world building, but also respects the diverse audience that engages with your stories. Finally, let's talk about integrating names into the writing process. Names should not be an afterthought. They should evolve alongside your characters and settings. However, don't let the process of naming halt your writing progress. If you have something to write, make sure to write it. It's okay to use placeholders as you develop your story, and then refine the names as your characters and world become more defined. As we wrap up this journey through the art of naming and world building, remember that the names you choose have the power to breathe life into your characters and places. They are the first step in making your fictional world resonate with reality. Let me know in the comments below if this video was helpful to you in any way and what else you might be interested in seeing me cover next. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Have a great day, and see you in the next one.